What's up, nerds? Nerd Piece here.
What is the nerd, everyone? Let's talk about One Piece episode 889. So the episode starts off with that mysterious dark figure that we've seen before in that frozen chamber with the large straw hat. And we see that they're kind of, looking at flowers or whatever in this garden setting. So after that, we transition and we see Sharlos being taken into the Celestial Dragon residential area, and Karasu is kind of watching them, and then the Revolutionary Army begin to have a strategy meeting. So we see the cat Revolutionary Lindenberg talking about how they have no problem with knowing the layout of the enemy's stronghold, base, whatever have you, but he mentions that they do have a problem because the admirals are there, and Sabo goes on to say that they knew that the admirals would be there and that nothing is going to stop them from rescuing Kuma. Karasu goes on to say that that's the reason why they're there, but I'm sure that Kuma is not their only motive nor their only reason for deciding to wage war at this time. As we know, when it comes to opportunities like we've seen before, this is like the best chance they're gonna get to really deal everybody a really good blow and to make a statement at like this big event. So they spent some time talking about Kuma and how he helped the Straw Hats escape, and they went on to become some of this generation's most prominent pirates, or as they said, this generation's most prominent pirate group. Sabo talks about how he has to repay Kuma for the favor that he did for Luffy. So we transition to see Luffy and the others sailing, and Luffy's looking at his wanted poster's new bounty and he's admiring it, and then a newspaper falls into Sanji's hands and he's starting to read about the reverie. So the reverie has officially begun. We see all the world royals sitting down around the table, and interestingly enough, they open the conversation talking about Luffy, noting that they hear his name a lot, and then they go on to talk about his kind of involvement with Big Mom and Kaido, and they were talking about like how he's going to Wano and whatnot, and they call Wano like lawless and whatnot because it's not affiliated with the world government. And it's just kind of funny that they're all talking about Luffy when at one of the previous reveries that we got to see, the topic was dragon. So I think that's like a kind of cool nod back to that first reverie we got to witness, and how ironic is it that while they're talking about Luffy at this reverie, Dragon is about to attack it. It's just kind of funny, I think. So we have like the Abe Lincoln looking guy saying like he's gonna be the chairman of the meeting, and the other royals seem to think pretty highly of him, mentioning that he'll make sure that things run smoothly, so he must have a good reputation among like the other royals. So the conference is going to be for 7 days, and during this period we will have Dragon attacking, Fujitora bringing up how he wants to get rid of the Shichibukai system, Cobra bringing up the 800-year void, and then of course everything with the merfolk and the fishmen. So we're gonna have a lot of things happening, not to mention Big Mom and Kaido and like the clash with Luffy. So who knows what all we're going to see unfold during this particular period of time. So the doors close and the meeting begins. We transition to see the Gorosei walking, and they're mentioning how Cobra wants them to actually attend the conference, and that we find out that Vivi and Cobra are actually one of the original 12 families that founded the world government, which technically makes them celestial dragons. And they go on to say that they're technically traitors because they chose to stay down in their kingdom and not move to marry Josa. So I guess we can look at Vivi and King Cobra, much like how Doflamingo was. I'm pretty sure if they try to go back and reclaim any like titles or authority that they might have had as celestial dragons, they would just get turned away, much like how Doflamingo did. And we seen rather how they dealt with Doflamingo, and this transitions into something that one of the Gorosei was saying. He was wondering that if Vivi's dad noticed anything, so now they're suspecting that he might know something, and if that's the case, they might go ahead and give him the Doflamingo treatment. But they hope that nothing turns into a problem, and they're talking about maybe they figure something out about the Void Century. Another one of the Gorosei mentions like the Big Mom Kaido thing, that could be a problem too, saying that the swell is unstoppable now. And another Gorosei, the one with the glasses, says that the balance of the world can't be maintained forever. And when they talk about balance, it's probably, the Navy, Celestial Dragons, the Shichibukai, and the Four Emperors, talking about how things are going to change. So when they mention the swell, I'm wondering if they're talking about like the new wave of events or change that has come because of the supernova and all of the actions that they have been getting into. I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, we can kind of read between the lines at this point. But he goes on to say that they need to clean it up soon, suggesting that they might have the power to take all of it on. So now, I'm kind of wondering, like, what weapon do they have at their disposal to where they're confident that they can take and clean up the supernova, the Four Emperors, and basically everybody. This treasure that Doflamingo mentioned, he said like the power was fleeting or whatever, but these guys seem very confident to me. So we transition to seeing the tall, mysterious, dark figure back in the Chamber of Flowers, and it's revealed that his name is Imu. And so Imu is informed that they're all here, and we notice a sword planted in the ground and a cut up picture of Blackbeard Luffy and a stabbed picture with Shirahoshi. And he's apparently holding an undamaged picture of Vivi, which is very interesting and might be key to the end of the episode. So Imu goes up like the large stairs and sits on the empty throne, and we see the Gorosei kneeling, and they ask Imu if he decided which light needed to be extinguished from history this time. This is very, very big. The biggest takeaway from this is the implication that they have done this before, which means that it's possible that they're the ones who wiped out the D-Clan. And when I say them, I'm talking specifically about Imu. So we kind of get a look into the system of the Celestial Dragons and the world government itself. So at the very top we have Imu, and then we kind of have like his chamber, or his cabinet of servants, which would be the Gorosei, the highest of the Celestial Dragons. Then you have normal Celestial Dragons, then you have the Navy, and then you have the Royals, and then all of the commoners. So this Imu character could possibly be immortal, and if that was the case, the people that the D-Clan was fighting against was probably against Imu, and which would mean that Imu is essentially an outside force of possibly humanity in the world of One Piece. And I have a theory I want to make on this. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it. I really haven't been keeping up my One Piece theories lately, but we have seen evidence of forces larger than humanity within the world of One Piece in relation to the voice of all things, and like the giant, the Sea Kings, Zunisha, and then the mysterious character that goes around fixing ships that we got to see back in the arc with Skypia. So there is clear evidence that points to super beings within the world of One Piece, and I'm sure like eventually this is going to be revealed. But what I'm guessing is that what the D-Clan was fighting against was not the other kingdoms. It was in fact this takeover that Imu was trying to do over like the human race. That's why the Gorosei referred to the light they wanted to destroy, which is the light that they would shed on the truth about the dark side of the celestial dragons and the world government, and the fact that it's run by an evil creature known as Imu. And this Imu likely has the ability to do mass extinction level attacks, which would explain how the whole D-Clan could get wiped out. I do not think that the war was against the kingdoms, but against Imu himself. And this ties into the voice of all things, the D-Fruits, Haki, and all of it. I think it was introduced from an external force. And I'm thinking that this is probably the reason why the ancient weapons were developed, because Imu and its like strong powers or whatever, because the D-Clan developed the ship Pluton, and they left instructions for, you know, to create another one in case that weapon was ever to be used, you know, for like bad purposes, which means that the whole reason they created it in the first place was because it was a defense mechanism, and I'm thinking that defense mechanism was against Imu. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further here into theory mode, and I'm going to say that Imu came from one of the surrounding planets that we got to see in the library of Ohara. Now, I could take this a bit further, but I don't want to push into any manga material because I want to keep things strictly anime within, you know, the confines of this review. So this is my general theory for Imu. I have many more ideas about this, but I thought that I would give a little bit of a look into what I have kind of been thinking about the whole situation surrounding this character's origin. As always, these are just my thoughts and opinions, which are always subject to change as things continue to be revealed within the world of One Piece. Leave a comment and let us know what you think.
And don't forget to subscribe, nerds.